Hi guys. So I briefly want to speak about a question that comes up quite regularly about why we are teaching our programs only in a live format and we do not have a online version for them where you can just go through all the practices from home, from your computer, online, and then you learn it from there. Why we only teach it strictly in live programs. So there are several reasons. I think there's two main reasons why we don't teach it in an online format. One has to do with the fact that a lot of these practices we're doing, it's quite important to do them correctly, not only to prevent injury, but also to gain the full benefits of the practices. And for that, it's very important that you have a teacher who is there, who can observe your practice and who can give you corrections where needed, which would not be possible over an online video training. So that is a really important factor why these are offered in that format. Another one, which might even be more important, they're both important, but it's definitely a very important factor as well, and that is whenever we teach these kind of practices that we teach in Isha Hatha Yoga, we want to make sure that we create a very committed atmosphere, so that when you come there, the space and the atmosphere is very conducive in such a way that it's easy for you to take that practice, to receive it and take it with you. Now that sounds a little vague, but committed atmosphere has several aspects to it. One has to do with making sure that people who come are really committed, and just by the fact that you come there, it ensures that you bring a certain commitment, because it's a little bit more uncomfortable, inconvenient, depending where you live, where the class is, and everybody has different levels of comfort zones or convenience zones. So, for example, some people, they complain, if they just have to travel to the other end of the city for a program because it's inconvenient for them. Other people, they are willing to travel to the other part of the world, because they're just really thirsty and they don't care what it takes. They just want to learn that. When I first learned these practices, I had to, there were no Hatha teachers, Isha Hatha Yoga teachers, spread over, all over the place. Now, there really was only the option of either going to the ashram, or for me, the next option would have been London. When I first learned in engineering, I went straight to the ashram. There was no question for me. I wanted to go straight to the source, and I wanted to do it with Sadhguru. After that, I did the next Hatha Yoga class. I did it in London, and then after that, I did another advanced program in the US. And there was never a question for me whether I should go there. It's and if you look the yogis in the past, I mean, come on, they imagine 2,000 years ago what difficulty they had to take up to be able to learn that. Some of them, they had to go up to the Himalayas because that's where their master was, and they didn't have any equipment like today. They didn't have any cars or anything. Like they had to make such a huge sacrifice, which is uncomparable to the sacrifice that we need to make today. So when they received it, they were completely receptive, and they made most use of it because they already paid such a huge price for it. I firmly believe that most people, they value only things for which they have to pay a certain price. Price does not necessarily mean in form of money, but could also mean in other ways. They have to make a sacrifice. Then they really value things mostly. There are exceptions, but I think most people, for most people this is true. And so, which is also one of the reasons why I, don't offer yoga programs at dumping prices, because I really sincerely believe that it would be a disservice to everyone. Not only to me, but also to all the people who come to the programs, because I just don't think that they will value it the same. It has to hurt a little bit. Now, commitment is one thing. Another thing is that we try to, whenever you come to a yoga program, you will notice that there's a distinct difference about the space. We prepare the space in a certain way that it's, it's very conducive to learn this. And there are certain ways to prepare spaces. And very subtle ways, like in the yogic science, this is a big aspect, and especially if you go to an ashram or to like a temple, you will notice these differences about certain spaces. And even today in the sciences, they have a lot of evidence that points in that direction, that the space around us can be impacted. Like, for example, basically we know that every sound has a vibration, and those vibrations, they have an impact on their surroundings because they're vibrations, so they move on. And so if you have learned for example Om chanting or certain chants or mantras, then you will notice that by making certain sounds in your system, that your state will change, your system will change. It's the whole science behind mantras. And so spaces can be created and impacted in such ways. There's like an amazing documentary about water, and they did some experiments with it where they tested what happened to the molecular structure of the water when it's exposed to certain external influences, like as simple as a person having certain thoughts, playing certain music, stuff like that, very subtle things, and they have an impact on the water, on its molecular structure. It's very amazing, these things, and they're part of yoga. So some of these aspects are also relevant when we prepare our space before we give a certain class. We want to make it very conducive. We want to make sure the commitment is there when people come, and above all, we need to ensure that we can try to minimize the chances of injury and help people, giving them the support they need. So these are like the most important reasons that that for me are relevant as to why we teach the programs the way we teach. There might be even other reasons which are more subtle, which only Sadhguru might be able to give. But irrespective of those, I think anyone should embrace this kind of structure, because it really allows you to really imbibe those practices in the way that they are meant to be received. Alright guys, so that's it for today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel in case you're new, so that you get an update about my new programs, my new videos. I'm publishing a new video every single week, so if you hit the subscribe button below, then you get notified in your YouTube account and you won't miss out on them. Also, please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, because really what I'm trying to do here is to give you some interesting content. So whatever is interesting for you, just leave a comment, let me know any questions or topics you would be interested in. Alright guys, see you soon, bye.